Welcome back to BLOCKTV here at the Ethereal Summit in Tel Aviv, the first ever Ethereal Summit in Tel Aviv, and what is the Tel Aviv Blockchain Week. I'm so very happy to sit here with Yusuf Hussain, Head of Risk at Gemini. That's quite a big title. But first I want to ask you, how much crap did you get at the airport?
Spent only about an hour and a half at the airport. It wasn't too bad, I guess, comparatively speaking. With a name like Yusuf Hussain, I guess you could expect that at the very least.
I'm so very happy that you're here, I gotta say. And it is the Ethereal Summit, but I do want to hear about Gemini. You're the head of risk. Explain to me and our viewers what that means.
Sure. So most banking institutions and the financial institutions, some of the most heavily regulated institutions in the world, require, after the 2008 financial crisis, some checks and balances. That risk,
to say the least.
To say the least, yes. Right? So the risk division has been common nomenclature in large traditional financial institutions, and Gemini is a cryptocurrency exchange that is building towards the future, building towards rules, regulations, security and compliance first mindset. So we took the best practices, the standards from traditional financial institutions and the industry and applying that here. So risk covers a number of different areas such as operational risk, market risk, credit risk.
Now, Gemini, one of the forward-thinking, needless to say, the Winklevoss's twins are behind the company. One of the forward-thinking changes when it comes to cryptocurrency. How would you describe 2019? It's hard to operate in the States regulation-wise. Where do you see that heading?
So, Gemini has been instrumental alongside a number of other digital asset exchanges in forming the Virtual Commodity Association. In 2018, the Virtual Commodity Association was launched alongside Bitstamp, Bitflyer, Bittrex, and Gemini. We definitely agree that regulation is needed in the space, especially if you're playing the long game.
Yep.
We're not looking for short term. We're looking for providing consumer protection mechanisms to retail and institutional investors like they've become accustomed to in traditional financial industry.
And that's the end goal. But is the regulator in the States, in your opinion, your educated opinion, ready to regulate the sphere?
The regulators, the SEC, the CFTC, and even state regulators have been very vociferous about the industry looking to self-regulate itself. The industry moves at a very fast pace, at the pace of innovation, and I believe the regulators have done a lot of good work in getting their own fintech hubs, getting their own labs that focus on fintech, but have also asked for the industry, who are the subject matter experts, to help inform sensible, thoughtful regulation. So that regulation moves at the pace of innovation.
Right, that it doesn't stifle it, which is the hope for everybody. Gemini, talk to me about the year ahead when it comes to, clearly you're head of risk. What are the hopes for the next year?
Yeah, there's in late 2018, we had launched our mobile application focusing on retail investors. Over the last couple of months, we've rolled out a number of different enhancements to our current offerings. Just last week, we relaunched our custody. So we launched custody with 18 digital assets. So now we have been providing institutional level custody, segregated custody to our institutional customers, and now we're doing so with an even larger set of digital assets.
Okay, that's just on the short-term plan. When it comes to, let's talk a little bit generically, obviously. This has been a good year, one could argue, or at least publicity-wise, a good year for cryptocurrencies, whatnot, because of the announcement. It's not the launching, but the announcement of Libra. What do you think it can do to the sphere, even though, we can arguably say it's not a cryptocurrency? But what can it do for the sphere?
Blockchain in general is going to bring about a transformation across any industry, like Gemini is doing and other crypto exchanges are doing for the financial industry. It's good to see other tech companies making moves in crypto. You'll see that across other industries as well. And you know what? The regulators are speaking about crypto more so now than they have before.
Not only that, I think they realize it's not going away in a way. That's once we have hearings in the Senate and the Congress, as uncomfortable as they are. Would Gemini, I'm assuming Gemini would work with Libra. I'm assuming Gemini would look to see if Libra and when Libra launches.
No comment, no idea.
Good one. But moving along on that front, Gemini's, we're talking about 2019 in the United States. How is when it comes to Gemini globally around the world, what is the aim there?
We're looking at continuing to expand services, not only services, but jurisdictions where we can provide our services. So there's a number of different jurisdictions that we're looking at. There's a number of different services that we're looking at. Continual expansion in all fronts.
So you're here, though, in the Ethereal Summit in Tel Aviv, representing Geminis. Who did you come to meet? What are you doing in the conference?
Definitely, you see a lot of tech innovation. I know prior to me being at Gemini, a lot of the innovation, cybersecurity was hot maybe a year or two ago, and there was a lot of innovation coming out of Israel. And I think the same can be said about crypto and blockchain. So it's definitely interesting to see the variety of different companies and innovation happening within Israel.
So, and when it comes to this summit specifically, if you want to sum it up for me?
Yeah, it's been great meeting with a number of different tech startups that can provide certain offerings that we're looking to use as we consider expansion of services and jurisdictions. And it's also interesting to see some of the larger players here, some banks here as well. It's been very reassuring.
No, it is reassuring. I think it's safe to say that nobody's going anywhere. Yet, finally, that elusive, word mass adoption that we're all mentioning, etc. When do you see it happening?
I have no predictions on mass adoption, but I think we're all making moves in the right direction. As I mentioned, that Gemini is one of the founding members of the Virtual Commodity Association, and the focus of the Virtual Commodity Association is to make sure that we afford the same consumer protection mechanisms that consumers have seen elsewhere. And if we can provide those levels of consumer protection mechanisms, we will hopefully see significant adoptions.
Entirely. No, when it comes to security and risk. Yusuf Hussain, I cannot thank you enough for joining us. Head of Risk at Gemini here at the Ethereal Summit in Tel Aviv. We're BLOCKTV. We'll be right back.
Thank you very much.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.